Hello and welcome to another KWIZ Conforms training video. In this video we'll talk about custom actions configuration. In the previous video we created one activity that we're going to use now when we create our first custom action. Before we create our first custom action, just a quick recap on what we've learned so far. So custom actions are actually workflows. Custom actions can be triggered either by a user click on a custom button or by an automatic item event, which happens when an item is created, updated, or deleted. Once a custom action is triggered, it will execute all its included activities. We will create our first custom action using the following example. We have our PO request list, and we want to implement the following custom action. When a user submits a new PO request, meaning creates a new item and saves it, we want this custom action to be triggered automatically. And then we want this custom action to check if the price of this new PO request is greater than $2,000, we want to execute an activity that sends an email to an approver. So you can understand from this description that we have actually one activity that should be used, which sends an email, and we've created this activity in the previous video. So let's now go ahead and start creating our new custom action. Okay, so this is our purchase request list. Let's go to the KWIZCom apps settings page. And here I'm clicking the custom actions link to get to the custom action settings page. This page is empty because we have no available custom actions, so it's time to create our new one. So clicking new action. There are two types of custom actions. There are automatic actions, and these can be triggered either by item added, item deleted, or item updated events. So they are triggered automatically. And we also have user actions, which will be demonstrated on our next videos. These ones display a custom button to the user, and when the user clicks this button, then this custom action is triggered. So we'll go ahead with an automatic action, and we want our automatic action, as we described, to be triggered when a new PO request is added. So the event is item added. This is the event when we want this custom action to be triggered. Let's give it a name, and let's give it some clear description. And we have this enable checkbox. By default it's enabled, but you can create custom actions and disable them so they won't work by default, and you choose later on to make them available. Okay, so these are the basic settings. Then we go to the activities tab, and this is the core of the custom actions. Here you select the activities that will be executed once the custom action is triggered. Now currently we have only one activity that we've created in the previous video, and this is the activity that we need. We want to send an email to an approver. So let's select this activity. And once you select it, you see all the activity details. In this case, this is an email activity, and it sends an email to some variable, and I recognize the variables that we created in our activity using the bracket percentage syntax. Now they appear as links. So it's the recipient, and it's the requested by, and requested details, and requested price. All these are variables. And as explained in the previous video, when activity includes a variable, it doesn't really know what will be the value of the variable. The values for these variables are provided by the custom action which calls this activity. So here, when we're creating this custom action that calls this activity, this is the time to provide the values. So when I click the link, it will open the edit variable pop-up where I can provide a value for each such variable. So let's start with the send an email to recipient. So who's the recipient to whom I want to send this notification? So it can be a hard-coded email address, or I can use tokens to get values from the current item. So if I go to item properties, I can get values from the columns. Now, of course, I'm looking for someone's email, the one who should approve this request. So I don't have any such relevant value here. So in this example, I'll just be using a hard-coded email. So I'll use my Gmail address. But again, I can use any other token that includes an email, such in a person field. So clicking OK, so I provided a value for the recipient. Now I have another value here for the requested by, because this email has in its body, hello, this new request has been submitted by. So here I want to provide the details of the user who submitted this form. So clicking here, I will use a token, and I can use either requested by, I have the value here. I can also use, by the way, the system property created by, because actually it's the same user in this case, so it doesn't matter. So I'll use the requested by column value, clicking OK. And here the requested details, I'll use the details that I have in my item, item description. Yeah, I'll provide the description that the user provided in his request. And finally, the requested price is also available in the current item in the price column. That's it. So I'm using this, I'm calling this activity. And finally, and of course, if I had more activities, I could select more. So the custom action can call 5 activities, 10 activities one by one. We can also include branching, which is a more complex topic, which we'll be discussing upcoming videos. So currently I'm just implementing the most basic custom action, which simply calls a single activity. Now, if you remember, in my requirements for this custom action, I wanted this email to be sent only if the price exceeds $2,000. And this is where the conditions tab is relevant. So up until now, without any conditions, what I configured currently is that whenever a new item is created, this activity will be triggered and will send an email. But we can add a condition. So let's add a condition that says only if price is greater than or greater or equal $2,000. And that's it. I created my custom action. Now that the custom action is available, you can see that I can edit it, I can duplicate it, or I can delete it. So let's go ahead and test our custom action. So back to our purchase request list, let's create a new item. And let's give it some details. And let's give it a price which is higher than $2,000. And I'm clicking save. Okay, so we have our new purchase request. Let's see if it worked, if the custom action worked. So there are 2 ways to see if the workflow, if the custom action worked. First one is to go click the item, and when you're in the view item form, you click the gear icon here, and you can see the custom actions history. And we see here that we had one custom action running, PO request notification. It was completed successfully, so there were no errors. And in this custom action, we had one activity that also executed successfully. So all I have to see is if we got the email. So let's go to my inbox. Okay, so this is my Gmail inbox and I got one email. Let's open it. So this is the email that the send email activity sent us. So it includes the dynamic data taken from the current item, and there's a new PO request for the price of 2,300, and so everything ran okay. Okay, let's summarize what we've seen in this video. We saw how to create a custom action, and in this example we had an automatic action which was triggered by item added event, which happens when a user creates a new item and saves it. We had a single activity executed by this custom action. It was the send email activity that we created in the previous video. And we also had a condition which said only if the price of this new item exceeds $2,000, only then the send email activity was executed. So this was a very simple automatic custom action. On our next video, we will create a user action. A user action is actually a custom button that you can add, and when an end user clicks that button, the custom action is triggered.